So everybody doing that, adjust, reminding your watch, adjusting the time, you say thank you to Antoine LeCoultre. Voilà. Merci Antoine.
Welcome back to WatchAdvisor on YouTube, where the watches are the stars. But today the superstar of my video is Jérôme Lambert. Very warm welcome, Jerome.
Thank you, Alexander. I'm not sure I deserve such an introduction, but very happy to be with you.
You know Jérôme Lambert probably because he has been the CEO of Jaeger-LeCoultre many years ago. Then he became the CEO of Lange & Söhne, he became the CEO of Montblanc, and then he finally became the CEO of Richemont. And then all of a sudden he decided to start all the way back and go back to be the CEO of Jaeger-LeCoultre. What was your intention? You did it. You were on top of Richemont. You were the CEO of the entire company, working together with the owner. What was your personal motivation? Is it the general comes back on the battlefield, or?
I think that ultimately, when you have touched a Maison CEO position, you somewhere always want to come back to the creative world, to the direct interaction with the Maison, when it's patrimony, with the lovers, the clients of the Maison, and that field of direct action was something that was somewhere calling me for a while. You know that when I started at Jaeger, I was 33. Mm-hmm. It gave the opportunity in the various positions to learn, to know potentially even more what I was, I don't know, good at, but at least strongly aspiring to.
And so now you're back. How do you feel? It must be different.
It's indeed very different. Somehow it's like you're swimming 2 times in the same river.
Okay.
You recognize a place. There are many things that are similar, but it's really a second swim. And as a second swim, you can even more appreciate what was good in the first swim. And I have to say that the Maison is amazing. Yeah. If in my heart it was beating slightly stronger for Jaeger, it's due to you go to the Vallée du, you did it a few times. You're having the chance to share these visits, and you see a Maison that started with one craftsmanship, started with the concept of manufacture, and is today probably the last place where 180 craftsmanship under one roof are still doing watchmaking. I would say pair the long tradition of high watchmaking. Mm. You see as well a Maison in the same time that as much as the Maison is dedicated to savoir-faire, to excellence, to the quest of the ultimate thing, is also super creative. Jaeger has been registering 430 patents in its history. And we have 20 right now that are pending in review to be further registered. And it's unique that you have that absolute mastery. Yeah. And at the same time, that absolute quest for creativity. The Maison has an icon like the Reverso, more than 90 years of history, but somewhere there is an Atmos clock, born in 1928. And then in the window in the entrance, you have the 101 born in 1929. Such a patrimony, products that have been objects that have been keeping their relevance for 90 years at least for most of them. And that's something that is something appealing for sure.
By the way, what I love, passionate people, passionate CEOs, people who have the power, who drive, who push everyone push the limits. So what's your vision in terms of what would you want to do with that beautiful Maison, as you call it? How long would you want to stay, by the way?
You know that every time I was changing, it was not something I had planned. It was something that was coming very naturally. So now, after 2 months, I'm not projecting myself in doing something else. I'm 100% focusing on Jaeger, and Jaeger is absorbing all what I think, all what I do, and it's a very positive thing.
Share some thoughts with us, with my audience.
Yeah, definitely. Again, you know, Alexander, that when you visit Jaeger-LeCoultre, you spoke from passion. There is a word as well that we have been using, and you remember 2004, when we had the first time the Ebris Mechanica with the Jarre tourbillon.
I was there, yeah.
There is something in Jaeger which is belonging to that spirit of Ibris. Because at the end of the day, we have the largest catalog of caliber at Jaeger-LeCoultre. When you see behind you, there is an amazing wall of calibers that is showcasing some of the 1,400 calibers created by the Maison.
Yesterday.
So you saw many of them. Today, our catalog is twice larger than the second Maison that has the larger catalog of movement. So we could have maybe less movement, less calibers. But then, the watch will be less perfect, the shape movement in the shape watch story that has been belonging to the reverso since day one will be gone. Very slim watches that require very thin movements. The powerful minute repeaters with their trebuchet that have been developed that way. So that sense of hybris, it's something that belongs to Jaeger, and it takes you always one step further. So for me, it comes along two words, which is watchmaking creativity. Mm-hmm. I think that Jaeger-LeCoultre is, per our motto, the watchmaker of watchmakers, that in somehow you have more to translate by the more watchmakers than any watchmaker.
So will creativity start out of the creation of a movement? Or is it the other way around? Do you create a watch in terms purpose, sport, elegant, flat, thick, waterproof, not waterproof, and then you create the movement? Or do you think vice versa? You say, okay, we create movements and then we create housing for them.
It's like going in Schönbrunn and going around the water part and moving with one stick and putting the stick into the water and seeing then the magnifying éclat of the water around and saying all that catalysis will happen. In the story of the catalysis, normally you need salt. You don't have in Schönbrunn salt into the water, but if it would be that catalysis, these elements that you speak, are what explain Jaeger. It's this 180 craftsmanships together. It's the enabler, it's the watchmaker, and their interaction creates the charname that you have just seen, where you have a guilloche in the front with a plate that will only exist for that watch, only 10 watches, and with that color and that hover. Because it fits particularly well with the back of the watch that has this fabulous painting. And who has decided that? Is that our art director? Is that our master enabler? It is the watchmaker. Teamwork. It's their work together that brings them. And my job there is to make sure that we have this gathering of talents, this envy together to share even more that hybris soul and spirit with you guys when you come and visit us in a boutique around the world, or when you visit the Valley Jew and when you see the manufacturer. One of the immense privileges that we have at Jaeger, and again, you have seen it and done many times, you come and you can open any door.
Yes.
That's even more. Our problematic is sometimes that there are too many doors to open.
That's true. It is, by the way, impossible to visit the whole entire manufacturer in one day. You wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
So you have to pick some things. Say, okay, I go to the watchmakers or enameling or case making or whatsoever.
What is particularly splendid about Jaeger? It is this amazing craftsmen that are doing things never done before, truly inventive. Mm-hmm. From the aesthetic, you see all the tribute lines, you saw the geographic. I say, when you see the geographic, it's just thinking the three-dimensionality of the reverso, using the case of the reverso, not only to protect the watch, but now to be coming together with the presentation of the function. I'm sure you have seen that even the surface of the wood is not flat. It has exactly the same curve that the rest of the case, so that when you watch it, it's just harmonious. But that millimeter of curve that you have there gives that amazing pleasure with your eyes. The new grand date that is being used with that pattern on the front face, where we use two discs next to another, so that at the end of the day, the watch remains slim with that functionality.
Is there a particular direction you want to reinforce in the future? I remember when you were CEO, you had lots of sports watches. There was also a Reverso Sport available at the time. Are you more focusing in the elegant direction, more in a slim, elegant, or more in a sophisticated direction? Or is it more, or also are you going to reinforce the segment of sports watches, Jaeger-LeCoultre?
I think
Jaeger-LeCoultre, as
you can say the two. Well, as a gentleman, as Edmond Jaeger family was coming from Alsace, and you can still say Jaeger.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
That's
why I always say it in the camera, because I got blamed saying Jaeger because the Frenchies always say Jaeger, and then they say okay, and then I always say in the video, you can call it Jaeger or Jaeger.
Yeah.
But
the iconic lines of Jaeger has been the result of years of mastery and evolution. Today, they all give us sufficient capability to express ourselves. And I do believe that within Reverso, within Master, with the Polaris, even with the Atmos or the Duometer, we have fantastic collection in which we can blend and bring things. It will be too early to say which direction.
Of course, I don't want you to already tell us everything. That would be nice, yeah. But
it will be very painful for the work of the guy, because again, you know that you can take a direction, but along the direction, you'll find your way. What is very true, it is we have the chance to have a superior stylistic expression. So we want to keep that stylistic superior expression. What you can for sure count on, it is even more depth in our technical expression. Mm-hmm. That's for sure.
But I can listen in between or read in between the lines that you are a little bit focusing in the future also on sports watches again.
You can learn whatever you want, but they are. No, the beauty is that when you are in a maison like the Reverso, where the guys were incredibly creative, it's still the only watch existing in 3 dimensions. And still being the relevant one
and
after 90 years.
See the Reverso as the only rectangular watch you can wear.
I won't say anything about that. I would say as previous CEO of Richemont, there is a couple of square watches within the group.
We are not. But you are no longer the CEO of Richemont. So now you are the CEO of Montblanc. You're not even the CEO of Montblanc. You're not the CEO of Lange & Söhne, but you are not the CEO of Jaeger-LeCoultre. So you can say that.
When we have been creating first the triptych, and then the quadriptych came, and then you see now geographic or the duo face, where you see the trigger in the side that keeps the purity of the case, and you still change the time. Remember the first duo face where you need a small tool. Then we say, okay, let's make it more functional. Then we had the pusher. By having the pusher, we lost balance of the first one, but the first one you had the tool. Now, one generation after, we had this trigger, and that trigger is a direct development coming from a triptych. So you see from the triptych, super complicated, to the quadriptych, to that, I would say, secret trigger on the side of the watch. I would say the continuity of the invention then bring into that. So be sure that our inventiveness, our willingness to bring more surprise in what we call the emotion of a first time, is that you can count on it. If you love watches, if you are passionate about watchmaking culture, you will be looking always at what we present to see things that you had not yet seen.
Let me interrupt this video for a short moment, please. We need you to join our community on our website, www.watchadvisor.com. You can now discover more content. We are going to create forums. We have discussions. You can share stuff. You can come in discussion with me. We're going to present you more insights, more in-deep videos, more in-deep information, and so on and so on and so on and so on. It's all about watches. WatchAdvisor is the name. I am the watch advisor, you know that. This was the reason I'm interrupting this video, and now enjoy the rest of it.
The Maison, don't blame me for this, is underestimated. So out there, if you ask people...
Between the two, be overestimated or underestimated, if I have to choose, I prefer underestimated.
Yeah, me too. But there are some brands that they are truly overestimated, they are hyped, they are artificially hyped. But lots of people who have the money or who could spend the money for a watch from Jaeger-LeCoultre do think that the brand has not this what it probably needs to be seen for them. Can you, what could you do or what could you inject in the company that this changes a little bit? Because in my humble opinion, you should be not among the Holy Trinity, you should be the Holy Trinity, because there is, as you said in the beginning of the interview, no one else is able to do what you can do. The only thing you don't have is a crocodile farm. Not yet.
No. Even with global warming, it is not forecasted that Vallejo will be the first place to have.
No, but you know what I mean. The brand is a little bit underestimated, not because the people they are not aware.
Sure. But again, maybe the story of a little bit of living out of that and the pleasure of taking the distance with that. I think that maybe it explains why after 192 years, we still have the privilege to do what we do the way we do that. So maybe because of that, we could be and maintain very true to that culture that says that you need to master the movement, you need to master the case, and you need to have all these craftsmanships, because we were never in the duty to run after the next crown, the next turnover, the next growth that you need to assume this size that is coming with this kind of positioning. And I think that has preserved Jaeger-LeCoultre a lot that. The brand never did any shortcut, and the brand has never had to justify itself in a position like that.
Once you understand the brand, there is no doubt. People get crazy because then they really jump into your world or the world of the maison, of the manufacturer. And then once they understand, when people come and visit, when people see what you're doing, no doubt. But at first view, other brands have a much more recognition, and if they shouldn't have it.
Sure. But Alexander, this is why I'm saying probably it explains this kind of thing. At the end of the day, and I've been CEO of others maisons, alors CEO of maisons that were within the portfolio, our guys are much more free to create and invent. Because when you don't have to be defending a projected position,
that's true.
Then you can be truly whom you are, you can build it further, and everybody expects from you, I would say, to demonstrate more. And for me, it's the best energy and it's what we love to share. And I think that's intrinsically in our DNA.
Yeah.
You know, in the 30s, Jaeger-LeCoultre was, in terms of numbers of watches produced for fine watchmaking, one of the first 5 producers in terms of number of units.
Yeah.
But very quickly, the maison decided to have more qualities and quantity, so they left the quantity quest and then give them the capability to be resilient and to go throughout the time. So that pioneering spirit, that willingness to take the time to do things that are incredible and to be truly what they need to do, that freedom, it's potentially as well some part of the price to pay not to be every morning celebrated.
I don't need a brand that is celebrated every morning. I prefer to wear a watch that is not seen as what others' watches are seen. I like to distinguish myself. I really enjoy what you're doing, and I do have lots of Jaeger-LeCoultre watches in my collection because you are what you are, because I understand and I appreciate all this. But I think you should pump up the volume a little bit.
Yeah, but
however you're going to do that, pump up the volume and tell those people out there, look, this is Jaeger-LeCoultre. We are what we are, and maybe
you know if you see the average price of a Jaeger-LeCoultre over 100,000 euro, for watches over the 100,000 euro, we have one of the highest one of all the industry. So it means those who know will know. So already today, if you just in the boutique here capture the product of the maisons that are over 100,000, and you consider all these products, today it's already one of the highest of the industry. I will not quote where in the group it is, but you will be surprised by the average price over 100,000 euros, which shows me that a quadriptyque, an Haute Tourbillon, this kind of watches or complicated clock already catch the collectors and those that are ready to spend some significant part of money or of capital for these watches. So,
but they're also bread and butter watches. You're talking about the top of the pyramid, and then if you go down in the pyramid, you need kind of a bread and butter watches.
Sure.
And so, I think you are the man to do that.
Yeah, but for the time being, what I enjoy with the team, and it's a strong recognition of the work they did during the last 10 years to install that watchmaking in that position. And then it's a big reward for their work and for the work of the maison, because it's not something that is achieved just by, again, the result of something created 30, 40 years ago. It's the result of what they are doing now.
Yeah.
We often say that at Jaeger we stand on the shoulder of giants. And then when you know that when you have anybody in the world using a watch with a crown is interacting with something that Antoine has created. Antoine LeCoultre. It's not written here Antoine LeCoultre, but not if you have another
I
watch
have a watch
us,
that has 3 crowns. By the way.
So here it's written 3 times Antoine LeCoultre. But any watch in the world where somebody is.
Yeah, I know.
So all our friends here, they watch their watch and they do just like that, and they adjust time and different function from their crown. They use one invention of Antoine LeCoultre.
Yeah.
He was with another guy that is doing watches in Geneva of which the given name is starting with a P. They invented the crown, but what Antoine invented and his descendant, it is the fact that the crown could be used to adjust different functions. What was in the pocket watch not the case because you had two and the key. So he was the first one to say, okay, click, click, rewind and adjust. So everybody doing that, just reminding your watch, adjusting the time, you say, thank you to Antoine LeCoultre. Voilà. Merci Antoine.
No, so then if I correctly understand you, you will push the limits on the top of the pyramid and then all the...
No, we'll push the limits everywhere.
Of course, but let me finish my sentence, please. You will push the limits on the top of the pyramid and then you will work your way down until the basic products that will take advantage of things you have been inventing with higher priced watches, such as the little slider you have just been explaining on the new Reverso. By the way, if you haven't seen these videos, go and check them out on our channel. We have been filming all of the novelties 2025, of course, yeah. Just wanted to say that.
Again, 430 patents. We invent permanently new things, not for the sake of saying it's something nobody can use and say, but we think that we can always make the watch more from a pleasure to wear every day and to use for your different way of interacting with our watches. And this inventiveness, this element, and I will use that we are using internally. For any of our watches, I want to increase the watchmaking quotient, not the intellectual quotient of our watches, but I want that we increase constantly on all our models our watchmaking quotient. So from any of our model, in the continuity of their style, in the continuity of their expression, you count on us and then challenge us on that our models after model, we are elevating not their intellectual quotient, but their watchmaking quotient. Mm-hmm. And then somehow, after 192 years, 180 craftsmanship, that is somehow what we have been good at and what you deserve.
I would recommend you to start saving some money probably, because I can tell you, this is the man that will now wake up the sleeping giant, let me put it that way. For my personal feeling, that giant was a little bit sleeping in the last years. Don't blame me for that. It's not only me who says it. And now here's a man that will wake up the giant, and to all the others out there, be afraid. Knowing you, I think we know each other for 30 years now, or something like that. And I know to what extent Jérôme Lambert can push people, push teams, push everybody working for him. And you can expect in the next years to come, already this year is chapeau. Huh?
And this year is the whole team. So that's why I would say, they've not been terribly sleeping, because when you see the quality of this year and then the amazing level of what is done.
I'm not criticizing the quality. I'm just criticizing maybe the fact that you could be a little bit louder, a little bit more present in the heads of the watch community, a little bit more active, saying what you are able to do. There's so much, excuse me, and maybe bullshit out there. And this is so fantastic what you are doing, not you. Your maison is doing.
No.
So I think you should be a little bit more louder.
No, and then I allow anybody to have a perspective, so that's good in life. No, what we have in love, it is to share what we do. And we love to reveal what we're doing. Again, that true emotions that we have make us being very eager or willing to take you in all the details of what we do in the maison. And yes, I hope that we'll be capable, or even if that in a digital or distance way, being capable to bring you more from the maison.
Yeah.
For today and for the future.
We will help you.
Thank you.
My audience will help you.
Thank
we will celebrate you. No, I like it. I'm really, it is a highlight for many years now that we two sit here in Geneva, do this interview, because I very much liked the way you always worked with us journalists. I liked the way how you saw your team. Même soupe, même troupe, you had one.
Même armée, même soupe.
Voilà. You never gave...
It's not... The guy that was saying then was Napoleon, so I'm not sure he's popular everywhere.
No, but who cares? It is about the mindset. Because you have a mindset that is really what the industry needs. Observing what happens in these days sometimes makes me sad, and today I'm happy.
Thank you,
very,
Alexander.
Very happy.
You know, what is for us as well, it is in somehow your envy, your passion, your expectation is a commandment for us to be true to that spirit of Ibris.
Okay, wonderful. I could listen to you until tomorrow
Thank you,
morning.
Alexander. Cheers, thank you.
What can I say? I'm really thrilled. I'm nervous. No, I'm excited. Jerome, thank you very much for being with me once again.
Thank you.
Guys, check that man. You will see lots of good things coming from that maison or from this manufacturer. Jaeger-LeCoultre or Jaeger-LeCoultre, you decide how to pronounce it. Thanks for watching another video on WatchAdvisor on YouTube, where the watches are the stars. But today, Jérôme Lambert was my star, our star. Thanks for watching. Use the comment sections. Maybe you share some thoughts about the brand, what you would want to see, what is missing. Maybe you can give some suggestions. I will pass them on to Jerome, and so we can get an interaction in between me, you, and the camera here in the camera, but me in the people behind the camera, also you who are watching this video at the moment, so we can
The famous 6K camera.
The famous 6K camera.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye, see you soon. See you on Viruns. Cheers.
Thanks a lot for watching the video on WatchAdvisor on YouTube, and if you think that this is your channel, please check out our website, watchadvisor.com, and especially our community section on our website to really get in touch with us, to share lots of things. You will get more detailed information about the watch industry, in-depth videos, more fun will happen there. So if you're interested, have a look at watchadvisor.com.